Hey, Mark.
Hey, Michael, how are you?
Good, good. Sorry, I was just on the phone with a wedding planner, and I saw your name on the caller ID. I'm like, I got to take that call.
Oh, not a problem. I appreciate your time and sharing your story. And I see how you've reinvented yourself, so to speak, and you've kind of decided what you wanted out of the business and what you didn't want out of it, and you reverse engineered it, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And your tools were very helpful in the process, because I ordered your package from like 3 or 4 years ago, and I'd already started, retooling a lot of things, but your initial package was a huge reinforcement that I was going in the right direction, that someone else had also done what I was trying to do, only it appeared to me that you had started out, attacking this challenge directly, successfully, with key strategy and using a lot of stuff like Zig Ziglar thoughts and things like that of masters, and really making it happen without the treading of water that I went through.
So when you got my course, was this was it like in the middle, like when you got back into DJing? You'd already,
yeah.
How long were you back DJing before you got my course?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years, and it was really. I've commented to my son, who's in graduate school right now, the other day, like yesterday. I said, it's funny, when I first signed up for Mark's first course, for me, you may have had other courses before that, but for me, it was your first course for me.
It was
a struggle to pay for it. It was like, I don't know if I should do this or pay my mortgage, Not that it was that hard. It would have came out of my mortgage money. And in the end, I said, I need this. So I hunkered down, and I made do, and I went without a few other things that I like, and did it. Just closed my eyes and jumped off the cliff. And it helped me develop consistency. It helped me develop a sense of direction and purpose, and just a plan, a direction to follow, that I could tell, if you have a nice bead line, you can tell if you're straying off course. And, I think that if I had figured it out on my own, then your course would have been completely extra. But I didn't have anything like it in my life, other than my wife, who was a great rock of Gibraltar. I needed something professionally, and you were there. Your course was there. The standard was there. I had no other standard, so, I know there are probably people out there that go, well, he thinks Mark's a guru, even though that's true. What's wrong with that? I didn't have my own plan. I might as well have a plan. And you always say that try what you can and experiment with it, and if it works, keep it. If it doesn't work, drop it. But whatever you do, don't stop doing what you are doing that is working. So it's not like you tell people, do it my way. We'll make sure you're successful. You coach people, and you're very careful. That's the other thing I respect about you, is you respect other people's wisdom. You respect other people's skill level. You respect other people's comfort levels, and so on. It's a very nice approach.
I appreciate those kind words, because the whole guru thing was new to me. And, coming from a DJ background, and if you had asked me a few years ago, would I be teaching this to others, today, it wasn't even in my radar. So let me back up a second. Tell the listeners, like, what your name and a little bit about your company, like the size of your company and where you're located.
Okay, my name's Michael Coles, and the company name is Horizon Entertainment. It was formerly Horizon Music Fest for years and years. I started it in Europe while I was in the military on Armed Forces Radio, but changed the name as we changed our focus a few years ago. Shortly after getting Mark's stuff, and knew that we needed to retool. Now, the history of the company goes back to '82. That's really the beginning. When I did my first party for like $50 for a bunch of high school friends. I attended high school in Kaiserslautern, Germany. All of our dads were military. So it goes back then, and always tried to struggle and pursue excellence. And at one point, like most of us that are DJs go, I'm great. I'm excellent. Why am I poor? Why am I broke all the time? And somebody said it, I don't know if it was Mark, but skill level and prosperity have nothing to do with each other automatically. It takes strategy and it takes consistency, and a lot of us have the consistency. We keep trying to improve and getting better, but we don't have the strategy. And I think that my whole life changed when I started realizing that nothing excellent happens without a plan, whether it's trying to get engaged and marry the love of your life or making a successful business run. The two are very closely related, and both take a strategy. You've got to, when you're courting a girl, you got to put your best foot forward and make sure you're on your A game, and the same thing with a business. Only with a business, it's every day. Your wife can give you days off, but your business will not. So I think historically, I was like everyone else, and I'm still like everyone else, but the difference now is I have strategies that have been tested by others and then adopted by me and tested and applied and accepted and embraced. And I think my life shows that. I think my business shows that. We have 9 wedding disc jockeys in the company. We have 4 or 5 other fellas that are in different levels of their training, and someday will be wedding DJs if they pass through the gauntlet of bar mitzvahs and pool parties and school dances and picnics, the lower level challenges as they make their way through their career. But we have a guy named Aaron Hahn who's coming on full-time in July. He's just got engaged. He's getting married. David Taylor is slated to join us next year. He'll be ready to move full-time. He just got engaged. And, the message that I try to teach my guys is that there's no limit to what you can achieve if you're part of a good team, and that team could be you as a sole operator and a great wife, or a divorcee who's got some great sons, or a couple buddies you've known your whole life. But you can't do it by yourself. And the best friend that I have that I've never met is on the other end of the phone right now. Thank you, Mark. And I think that the key to my success right now is realizing that the nuts and bolts of what makes any business succeed have been true since the days of Jesus Christ. A good business, doesn't matter what the economy is doing or what economy you're in, whether it's communist Russia or Germany or the United States. If you're the best at what you do, and you are, you've got to find a way to get that compelling message out to your customers. And you don't have to trash other people to do it. You can simply talk about what the state of the industry is and how you're different and what makes you unique. And that is you. I don't care if you're the greatest DJ in the world or the worst DJ in the world. There's something great about you that would make someone want to hire you over someone else. And whatever that compelling message is, that's the message you've got to share. And you will never be without work if you're able to do that.
Michael, that's very well said. I really appreciate that. You were mentioning that before you got involved with my program, you'd been back in the DJ business for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. Now, tell me about that. What was your business like in those 2 years before finding your way to me?
Desperate, grasping, and a little like a ship without a rudder, because we were going in a million different directions trying to just jumpstart this thing back, But what was kind of cool, and I keep mentioning my wife, I'll mention her name now, Robin Coles. We're getting married, and she's a very successful computer person, and she's, lived her life plenty of years without me. And she's like, okay, we're going to get married. We need to pick vendors. We need to check out venues. We've got to go to a bridal show. And I'm like, what? I've been in the business for probably 15, 16, maybe 17 years, and had never even heard of bridal shows. That's how isolated my world was. So we went to the bridal show, and I swear to God, after about an hour, I was completely wiped out. Information overload, sensory overload, completely exhausted, not to mention walking around, it seemed like for miles in circles, looking at different vendors. And I went, I can barely stand this, but I know that I need to become part of this. So we got into the bridal show, and there's, a couple of what I call bottom feeder companies that are rather large in the D.C. metro area, and I think every metro area probably has these huge companies that charge peanuts for what they deliver, and some of them are worth more, which is the true crime, I think, is they're worth more and they're not charging it.
Yeah.
And they are burning out DJs, and the DJs aren't making a lot of money, and so it hurts the industry. But I was there, and I'm like, okay, I want to go in there, and I want to take these guys down. I want to become the new blankety-blank company, using the name, but not their name, but become that quintessential big DJ company. And went in there. Their price was like $500. I did a $395 bridal show special, and this is in 2002, maybe 2003. So I was booking like crazy on the spot, writing contracts. The money was flowing. It was amazing. But at that price point, and I'm trying to hire DJs, what am I going to pay them? Am I going to pay them? I mean, even if I do a 50-50 split, they're making $200, I'm making $200. What kind of equipment am I going to have? Because I did this without anything.
So you could literally work your way broke.
Exactly, which is what I proceeded to do, and we went in debt. My wife started freaking out because that was not her plan. And I assumed some things. There were a lot of things we didn't talk about. So the communication between my wife and I started to get strained, and we were newlyweds. I remember standing backstage at the bridal show, and she's in tears going, what is this? And she was holding up bank deposit slips and sheets of, what went in and out of my bank account. And I said, what? She goes, all this money we have coming in, you're just spending it. You're just willy-nilly. I mean, this is not right. You lied to me. And I'm like, I didn't lie to you. And she goes, you lied to me. And I'm like, she meant I was not telling her what I was doing. I wasn't running it by her, because when we first started talking about this, we were talking about communicating and collaborating. And so if I have to spend $400 on an amplifier, I need to tell her that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a heavy moment for me. But that's when I realized that I couldn't do it alone, and I couldn't run it autocratically, that I had to consult experts. And when it came to fiscal responsibility, my wife is a hands-down expert. I've now become one as well, and through watching her and learning from her. But that's when things started clicking, that I needed to reach out to experts in every field, not just financial, but marketing, sales, equipment acquisition, training and recruitment, and all these elements. I had to treat my business like a true business and count every dollar like a banker would, interest and blah, blah, blah. So we dug our way out of debt, completely debt-free now, as a company and privately, personally. And my wife's going to pay off her Jeep next month, the last payment. We've been socking all this money away. It's insane. And so now when the economy supposedly is in the tank, we've spent the last 5-6 years building an excellent company that just last week, and my office manager, Joanne, is sitting right down here, she took the call. This lady wanted a quote for DJ services. She had heard about us from a venue. The venue, to be honest, is not a venue that we know of as a high-end venue. The customers typically want a deal, and we pass on a lot of the opportunities because the money's just not there. And if I can make $3,000 at ABC venue, why would I work for half that at that ZYX venue? So, she wanted a price quote, and I explained how we did stuff, and she didn't want to meet. And I normally don't give prices without meeting. But she convinced me she had a real appreciation for artists and musicians, and people should get paid what they're worth. So I said the best package for that venue is what we call Bose 360, $2,800. And she says, fine, who do I make my credit card? Who should take my credit card number?
Wow.
And got a 50% deposit, which is $1,400, which is about $600 more than the average DJ charges in D.C.
Wow, and
that happened just last week.
That is quite a jump from your $3.95 wedding special.
Tell me about it.
So the words "you get it" come to mind.
Well, thank you.
You get it, because with the prices that you deserve, a lot of great opportunities open up to you. More marketing opportunities, ability to serve your client better. Not have to worry that if an amp goes out, I can't even afford to replace it.
Right.
So a lot of those things open up. So then that leads me to my next question. You mentioned that when you realized that you wanted to seek out experts in every facet of your life, so to speak. When you saw my ad initially, did you join right away, or were you skeptical like many folks out there on the planet?
I was skeptical of every expert that I ended up seeking out. So don't feel, special.
Not at all.
I was a dyed-in-the-wool, isolationist, iconoclastic individual. The perfect, individual, isolated and alone and rather stupid about his life. So I pride myself in the ability to get it eventually. I get it now. I didn't always. So I was skeptical, yeah.
But you took a chance anyway?
Yeah, because it was, obviously I didn't know what I was really doing. I had failed in a lot of areas that were key. I was great as a DJ. I mean, and a lot of us are. We're really good at mixing. We have history of mixes like, Love Shack and Sugar Pie Honey Bunch, Can't Help Myself, and blah, blah, blah. There's all these mixes in my head, and I have a huge music collection, excellent equipment, but other than that, you take me out of that 4-hour window of my life each weekend, and I was a failure. So what finally got to me was admitting that I had lacking in my life, and someone who has not only run a great business half a world away in Chicago, has done it in Chicago, which has got to be a tough network of opportunity. But you made it happen, and then you're telling the world what you've learned. I mean, that got to me, that you would, in a rather competitive industry where everyone's watching their back and everyone's sort of suspicious of each other, here's this open-minded breath of fresh air of hope, joy, and, just direction that, didn't seem to have any kind of angle. I didn't get a sense that you were going to rip me off. I was skeptical as to what worked for somebody else, would it really work for me? If what will work in Chicago will work in D.C. or anywhere else for that matter. Natural skepticism, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad that you took a chance on it, because in your case, good discovery.
Oh, my God.
and I'll tell you what, the most interesting part about it is that we'd never met before. And you quite literally just took my system and ran with it. And this is the first time we're actually meeting over the phone.
Yeah. I tell you, all the things that you talk about, like having different pipelines is vital. Reinforcing existing relationships, forging new ones, duplicating yourself. I mean, all of it, taking an honest assessment of your life and saying, where do I want to go? Where do I want to be? Having a plan, a 5-year plan or whatever, how long a plan you want to have. But have something where you can pursue it, and have some kind of idea where the lines are on the road, so you know how far afield you're getting, how do you get back on track. I've only recently started interacting with you directly through email and stuff, just because I don't know, maybe it's time. I don't know. Everything happens for a reason, but the economy right now is killing a lot of guys, and it's the people in the middle, the really, the guys that are at that crucial moment in their career. Do I stick with it? Do I let it go? A place where I was, 6 or 7 years ago, 8 years ago rather, that this economy will kill someone like that if they're not committed. And it's a lot easier to be committed when you know there are other people that are making it happen. It's those people at the bottom that are bottom feeders. They're always going to be there. They're never going away. There's always going to be those people that are at the top of their game, and they're excellent, and they've taken years to build what they have, and if they're disciplined, as I've become disciplined, they can reinforce those things and keep that going, because the tools that got them there would make anyone succeed in any economy. And trust me, there are DJ companies starting right now, as we speak. There are new DJs being born every day, new DJs launching their careers. It's easier now than ever, okay? So what's going to make the difference? I think the difference will be jumping into this thing with both feet and realizing it's now or never. This is your golden moment. And the guy standing next to you, the guy standing on the right or left of you, they may disappear and go away and go work at McDonald's or a department store or work at Best Buy or whatever, and which is great. There's nothing wrong with those jobs. But if you still want to maintain the freedom and the autonomy and the success that's possible, you've got to get disciplined, or you've got to find someone that has answers that's done it. So if there are guys that are starting right now that are going to succeed in this business and end up living that dream that we all have started out with, if they're going to do it and they've never DJed before and you've been DJing for years, who's going to get there first?
Mm-hmm.
Not the guy necessarily that's been doing it for years because he's got a head start. It's the guy that adopts the plan. So is it going to be the young guy who's, really hot, on the trail and really, fired up and motivated, or is it going to be the old guy that's decided to be more strategic?
Mm-hmm.
Now you take that guy with the head start and he gets to strategic, he's unstoppable.
That's right. And have you seen it happen for yourself, personally, what I call leapfrogging?
Yeah.
Like you literally can leapfrog over a veteran that's been around for years, the grizzled old pro, just by having that plan in place, because 95% out there don't even have that plan.
You taught me something new recently, like within the last 2 weeks, because we would never give prices over the phone. This woman happened to call at the right time, but we never used to give prices. And you mentioned something in the new CD-ROM I just got, where, if you're too evasive about price, people will start to suspect or feel annoyed or agitated. And I'm like, ooh, that's bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely bad. And I think he's right, because I've heard it in their voices. But I had to, at one point I felt like, well, I have to choose. Do I care about those people that want a price and only want price and dismiss them, just blow them off? Or should I engage them? So I chose to blow them off. I was rolling, man. I was really, really rolling, and, screw it.
Mm-hmm.
But this CD-ROM said, well, what? Basically the point I got out of it was, why turn away any business? Give each seed of business good soil to grow in, And so you're right, and by throwing that in there, I turned several calls into leads and turn those leads into sales. And the other thing that I was thinking about as you're talking, because, if people listen to your voice, they hear, what do they hear out of your voice? What I hear is a tone that says, I want to help. And that's, in the end, that's what we're trying to do with their mission. And I think the other thing that I sense when you're talking to DJs specifically is there's a brotherhood in your mind, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
There's a brotherhood of disc jockeys. It's abstract and it's immaterial, but it's a concept that you have that you embraced years ago. And when you think of it in that term, then this brotherhood is either real or not real. To me, it's real, and it's becoming more real the more I interact with other DJs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that brotherhood thing, all of our brothers have different abilities. I've got a brother. I won't even talk about my brother. He's a piece of work, but he's still my brother, and I love him, and I want no harm to come to him, and I help him every chance I get. So you embody that. I am trying to embody that, and so as a result, I realize there are going to be these DJs that all they do are school dances, or all they do is bar mitzvahs, and as a result, I no longer think as competitively as I used to.
Mm-hmm.
I really just think I'm part of a fun bunch of people that have chosen a path in life that is a lot of fun, and a lot of people sacrifice a lot to make it happen, whether it's personal relationships or whatever. But all of our DJs, man, they have chosen this field. It's not an easy one, as some people think it is, but it's never easy if you're doing it right. It's always an effort. It's an enjoyable one. And so I think the brotherhood, if you will, is kind of weird for me because I've been such a loner all these years. But I've got a great team now of 9 excellent DJs. Counting me, it's 10 wedding guys. And we all help each other, and we have a good reputation. And let me talk about brotherhood one more time. There was a DJ that I know is excellent. He does a sort of a Frank Sinatra singing thing with DJing, and he's excellent. Well, he had to back out of a contract. The client called me looking for a DJ, panicked, and started trashing this DJ. And I'm like, I know him. That's not, let me assure you, ma'am, that he's not normally like that. I bet he feels terrible about having to back out of this contract. I mean, I could have trashed him, but I didn't. Because I know him. And even if I didn't know him, I knew of him. And even if I didn't know of him, I've been there where I've had to back out of contracts. So rather than trash him, I objectively evaluated him for the client so that they could get in a different mindset. Why? So that when I'm dealing with them, I can distance them from that feeling they were having of not trusting.
That's great.
And so I got them into a good place and said, let me meet with you. I was able to spin it again into a meeting. Let me come out and meet with you, tell you our different options, and let me tell you what I can do. So I ended up booking this wedding last minute, top dollar, family reunion, $2,100 for 4 hours.
That is fantastic. And you came to those folks at the right time as the hero. And you were there with a solution.
Yeah.
That's great. So give me a little snapshot of your business life today. Now that you have this system in place, the mindset, and you have that solid action plan. Stress-free, is that a word that would be descriptive?
90% of the time, I feel no stress. There are those moments that happen. But because my core is calm, because I have a plan in place, that stress is momentary.
If you were talking to a DJ who wasn't necessarily your competitor, and if they were on the fence about me or they were skeptical about joining me or about me in general, what would you have to tell them?
Boy, am I hesitating to answer this question. Okay, number one, I'm going to answer objectively here because I know that the last thing I want is another guy in my market doing things similarly to me, following the same kind of path and plan, if they're not going to do it ethically. Ethically to me means, quite simply, if this product is worth this much, that's what you should charge. Okay? If you're worth this much, that's what you should charge. If you're doing it this way, this is, you should charge what you're worth, or you should charge commensurate with what your goals are in life. And so, if someone is going to live that way and march to those orders, I would want everyone in my market to get your program. Every one of them. Or everyone that can afford to it, or everyone that can capture the spirit or see the vision. Because people with a vision with the right spirit are going to do the right thing. I've learned that my former low opinion of competitors was wrong. Most of the people that I've run into as DJs are really good guys. Really, some of the best. And so, given a choice to do things ethically and on the level and honestly, getting their music legally and, paying their taxes and, making sure their equipment's the best and that their clients are being treated utmost, most of the DJs will choose to do it that way if they are shown how or figure out how. They're going to do that. So I really don't, after thinking about it a little bit as I'm talking, I think I would recommend everyone join it for their sake, for the client's sake, for the sake of the industry. The only thing I've always hesitated on is sharing awesome insider tips and secrets and ideas with people that are unworthy. There's one thing that you you also do that I like, because I've seen other programs or heard of other programs where you got to play these psychological boosting CDs and stuff, like you are great and you deserve this and you're the best and you deserve to like yourself or whatever the hell, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't do any of that. There's no psychobabble to what you do. It's nuts and bolts. It's coherent and rational. It's not goofy. It's so cool. I would say in a nutshell for me that, and I was talking to my son who's in graduate school, who also has a DJ company. He's retained the original name, Horizon Music Fest. He's in Colorado. You can look it up online if you want. Horizon Music Fest. He's in Colorado Springs. I was talking to him, and I was talking about, like he's going to take summer classes. It's going to be $3,000, and he's like, it's $3,000, Dad. I've already paid for it. Can you throw me $1,000? I'm like, sure. I'll put it in the mail on Wednesday. I mean, oh my God, this is a guy that had to choose between child support and groceries back in the day.
Wow.
And because I always made the right decision, I have a great relationship with his mother and him. And I remember when he was deciding what college to go to, and this is my final prideful boast here, but he called me up. He was almost crying because all his friends were going to CS, Colorado State, University of Colorado, Colorado State in Colorado Springs. A lot of his friends were going there, and his mom and stepfather said, you're going to have to go to the community college because, your father and his DJ business, he would never have the money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't completely kept them informed of everything that I've done. But I laughed out loud and I said, how much is your tuition? He said $5,000. I said, I'll put a check in the mail on Friday.
Wow. Little did they know.
Right.
That's
so I have my thoughts on who bet on the wrong horse.
Yep.
In terms of mates and so forth, but I've got a great kid, getting ready to graduate college in December from grad school.
Wow.
Okay, and I've been funding his grad school expenses, and he's, not greedy. My son, could ask me to pay all $3,000, but he didn't. He knows I would have. But he's also been taught the value of money, and he's seen my example and what I've gone through and how far I've come, and he respects the money I'm working for, and so I think, all in a nutshell, I think the average DJ really needs to look at where they want to go, like you say, what are their goals, build the business around whatever they think is important, and then apply these various tools to try and reach their goals. You give everyone a million different